Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome to a game between two phenomenal players. In the bottom right, spawning as our blue Terran player playing for team C9, it is Gumiho. And in the top left we have SOS playing for team NV, the master of disaster himself, versus Gumiho. As we have a, what is this actually? Was this a no scout? This was a full wall scout into a sentry, battery defensively, stalker, sentry, stalker. Alright, defensive setup here. Trying to figure out what his opponent is up to. SOS hasn't really managed to blow me away yet, ever since he came back. He's sometimes shown some strokes of semi-brilliance, but none of the stuff, you know, that we were used to seeing from SOS. Some of that wild SOS-y, you know, all-in-y crap. He plays different, yes, but has it been brilliant? Not really, to be honest. Let's see if this game can change my mind and can change the minds of all of you as well. As two more gates are being thrown down, this is a serious investment here coming out of Gumiho. Out of Gumiho, who's gonna try to burst through this wall. Throws down a grenade, but doesn't actually properly connect. Solid response here so far out of SOS, who doesn't really lose anything. He lost nothing. This has to be one of the best defenses possible, as his hallucination is making his way across the map. We have a tank follow-up. This is a 2-base build, but practically a 1.5 base major invested attack. And I don't really see a way for this attack to do any serious damage, because SOS is in a phenomenal spot here with 3-gate production behind all of this. He already has a decent unit count as well, 3 stalkers, 1 sentry, has a battery set up. Gumiho's gonna go for a tank drop, which is not a real thing. This absolutely sucks. He wanted to go for a tank push. That's 100% the case. But now he decides, you know what, I can't seriously move out with a tank and a bunch of marines. It's going to cost me my life because I dealt no damage. My opponent got the full scout with the hallucination. The only thing that I can do here in any, well, possibly viable way is going to be to go for a little bit of harassment. But even this is not it. It's gonna lose the tank, will snipe the sentry. It's gonna lose all of his marines as well. So this was once again a complete garbage trade here for Gumiho, who ends up losing a lot more and achieves absolutely nothing. Taking out 1 sentry and a probe is all he got so far here in this game. Losing another tank and 4 marines for that. That ain't great, my friend. As SOS feels confident enough right now to start moving out on the map. Has seen, of course, the lack of any type of bench here. Saw the second barracks go down already. So full info for our Korean Protoss player. Builds a battery here, which I almost think is a sign of disrespect here to Gumiho. Saying, hey, or maybe a sign of respect. Respecting his opponent's aggression so much. But this is way too early for a battery. And there's no way that Gumiho is still going to push out. So it's a little bit confusing. Maybe just playing overly safe. Doesn't want to die to anything stupid. Just SOS right now is in a really good spot. It's going to be way up in supply over his opponent. He's already getting Colossus, so tech-wise he's looking solid. He's adding in extra gateways for now. Skipping the Forge, which is important to note, as skipping the Forge could indicate a slightly more aggressive move out coming out of SOS. It could also indicate absolutely nothing and just wanting to be safe against the incoming tank push, which definitely is going to be incoming soon. Tanks not in position, marines not in position. These stalkers will get about 2 kills, I think, before being, shooed away over here. Get out of here, son. Ooh, it's a neat pickup. Gets 3 SCVs total. Isn't a whole lot, but 3 SCVs is more than 0, is what I always say. And it's just nice to get a couple of kills in. Maybe you can still snipe 1 SCV here on the left side as well. It's really difficult to deal with this as a Terran player. You always need to be in the correct position. These stalkers have blinked. The prism can pick up from very far away. If you end up losing 1 or 2 marines here, that's also frustrating. So really quite nice damage here being dealt by SOS, who now is adding a Forge, adding a Templar Archives, has the first Colossus out. And Gumiho, what are we doing? He's building Vikings. That's the last thing I would have expected. He's gonna go for a Viking tank push. Triple Medivacs are out. Or maybe defensive setup? Is he afraid of a push? Does Gumiho know exactly what his opponent is doing? I guess he kind of managed to figure it out somehow. Blink forward. SOS was aware of that tank, by the way. That was not a surprise. Observer gets sniped. Good play. As these two medevacs defensively are doing a lot of work here for our Protoss player. They really are. Double turrets also helping out. SOS in a superior spot here. That much is obvious to us. As it seems like we're slowly but surely crawling towards a stable-ish mid-game. Very slowly crawling though. It's not a quick crawl. It's like baby's first crawl. That's what's happening here. Because this game is not stable yet. At any point, SOS can decide to pull the trigger. And put Gumiho in a world of trouble. A world of misery. Definitely something that's possible here. Fourth base about to finish up. I wouldn't even mind if he starts a fifth base immediately as well. I wouldn't even mind if he starts a sixth base. This sounds stupid, but against Terran that is camping on tanks, it is often not realistic to attack into it. So you can say, hey, I'm just going to be one base ahead, but there's also no way that this Terran realistically can move out. So you could just take 5 bases, go up to like 83, 84 workers, and be somewhat okay. I think that is actually a very viable way of playing. I really do believe that. Combat shield finishing up, 9 minutes into the game. That's a classic. Gumiho actually trying to move out. That's also a classic. That's not going to work at all. He's just going to get caught here by his opponent. The gate count at 8 plus 3. And quick math tells us that's 11. Gumiho is actually just setting up for a 1-1 ghost push, maxed out with Vikings and a bunch of tanks. This is one of these builds where it can actually be pretty scary to fight against this. Now, why is it scary to fight against this? Because Protoss units don't do well against Ghost Viking. That's why. You need disruptors in order to fight an army like this or a high immortal count. And then ideally, you fight in small portions. You know, you want to have a fight that is not a one-time fight. You want to trade a unit here, trade a unit there, because the benefit that you have is that you're outmining your opponent in a significant manner as well. A very significant manner. These tanks here set up. If he doesn't move out, that would be a wild thing to do, by the way. If Gumiho actually decides not to move out. That would be pretty freaking crazy. That actually would be pretty freaking crazy. Not gonna lie. Because then what is the plan? Okay, he's actually just building triple CCs. What? Second factory? He's just gonna mass tanks? This is not something we very often see. Because tanks suck. You have DT Blink coming out already. 5th base mining. Oh. The map vision, by the way, of SOS is god awful. Look at this. There's legitimately no vision. Like this entire path, he's just no clue what's kicking off. He's gonna get observer speed to try and get at least something. He's gonna straight up fly into a turret here. Almost gets caught there. The hallucination will end up getting caught. Big scan forward, sees this army, maybe saw this army. Yeah, there we go. A couple of big scans. Gumiho thinks that he can fight. I'm not sure if he can fight. I think he might be capable of doing it. He's getting a pretty high ghost count. He continues adding in more and more tanks. He's just leapfrogging forward here with turrets. SOS currently with 3,600 minerals in the bank. 1k gas as well. Gonna go for an attempt to win the game here. That's at least what it feels like. Here we go. Here we don't go. Hey, this seems like a weird timing to attack, because SOS has been maxed out for such a long time that any attack earlier would have probably been better, although this position might be slightly better. This is a very passive game, where SOS is just looking for angles that he isn't finding quite yet. Gonna get +1 here on the air weapons. Fleet beacon, 2 more stargates on the way. More and more command centers coming in. I kind of dig the way that Gumiho is playing. Gumiho says, hey, I'm so far behind, or I was so far behind. I'm just going to sit back. This is a little bit how Maru used to do it. If Maru was behind with mass tanks, what the hell is this? Smart servals to quickly transform between combat modes. I guess that's for the Vikings here. For a second I was afraid that it also made the tanks on siege faster and I wasn't aware of it or something. But I think that's an upgrade in the campaign, or in co-op. One of the two. You have a pretty big zealot attack here. It's gonna get stopped practically instantly. There's still no disruptors in this army. This army is still looking pretty weak. Not gonna lie. Zealots move in, but this Bioforce is simply too strong right now. And the way that Gumiho does this is basically saying, hey, if I'm down 5k resources, I'd rather be down 5k resources when both of us are maxed. And then my bank is just a little bit smaller, rather than being down 5k resources in army value, you know, when the opponent is maxed out and you have like 120 supply. Like, this is a much better spot. So just deciding to completely camp. Triple carrier production has started behind all of this for SOS. Who's now should be adding, some of these upgrades, as well as the armor upgrades. Honestly, pretty important when you're fighting against things like Vikings, but also just, like against the Marines and the Ghosts. It's just nice to have armor upgrades. We have a Prism with speed that's trying to head somewhere. The question just is, where is that Prism gonna fly? So we're actually heading into a proper late game. It's very rare to see a proper TVP late game. It just doesn't happen very much. I'd also love to see the extra upgrades coming out of the eBay soon. The high-sec auto tracking, the armor for the buildings. I think these are going to be pretty important in this particular setup. So Prism's gonna fly into, well, nothingness. I don't think it's gonna be capable of achieving anything here, to be quite frank. Nuke on the way. Fusion core as well coming out. Gonna keep an eye on this. I like the way it looks when something is researched. Is this only with the nuke that the steam comes out as well? Or is this always the case? Can you see the difference between a nuke and cloak researching on the Ghost Academy? I'm not even sure about that. Never really paid much attention to that. So these Vikings are moving somewhat appropriately. You haven't seen a single DT being warped in here either. Tectonic destabilizers is on the way. You're gonna see Tempest coming out soon. So we indeed have these extra upgrades. The armor for the Neo Steel armor, increasing the armor of structures by 2. And of course the high-sec auto tracking. Where are you? Second delay. Oh, here we go with the first nuke. I'm gonna try to hit her on the left side. Observers do have speed. To me it seems like this is not gonna work out, as this ghost will get targeted. Oh my god! The nuke lands. That's our first nuke, potentially of many more. As this nuke was a distraction, but a distraction that by itself was already annoying. And now a lot of cannons here are being taken out. Of course, Gumiho does need to be careful because he is backing himself into a bit of a corner with no easy escape path. EMPs are connecting with a large portion of this army. Are there enough Vikings to deal with the carrier count that is currently here? Carriers do have the +2 attack upgrade, while these Vikings don't even have ship weapons level 1 quite yet. SOS perhaps letting Gumiho get away with a bit too much over there. I love the play though with the nuke. The nuke into trying to go for a base. It's like that was a distraction, and it was almost a very expensive distraction there for SOS. So our second nuke here gets researched. I'd love to see another Ghost Academy. Yep, there we actually go. That's good. Second Ghost Academy I think is usually a big deal. Do like that. As with sensor towers and turrets, it doesn't feel very viable for SOS to make any move here. It's gonna run into this tanked up position. How many tanks do we still have total? We have 8 tanks. We have 15 Vikings. We have 8 Ghosts as well. Advanced ballistics now being researched. This actually looks like, not like a fun way to play, but in a way, there is something beautiful about sitting behind buildings and seeing your opponent get more and more frustrated over time. That just feels right. So yeah, it's actually a fun way to play. I enjoy this. This is fun. This does spark joy, just watching this as well. Where's that second sensor tower? I just saw. I have it selected. I don't see where it is. Oh, it's in the natural. There's so many rings on the map right now. It's almost going to be impossible here for SOS to do anything useful. Marauders moving in forward. They're going to get a base sniper here. They might finish the recall, but that base is obviously gone. Good move out of Gumiho, who's still continuing to research nukes over here. We're waiting for our next ghost to make a move. There we go. Does get spotted by this observer, but the question of course being, did he see it? And I think the answer to that might be no. For once again, we're in position. The next nuke coming out. Let's see how ready SOS is for this. Oh, the pro pool against the nuke. This is not gonna happen in time, is it? This ghost says, hey, thanks for the cannons and also thanks for these probes, sending them over. That is beautiful. That's some quick delivery there for no extra cost. There should be one more nuke in the bank already. Yeah, it's already here. Isn't being used quite yet. No, the ghost is coming back. I mean, at this point, this is just gonna get cleared instantly here by the DT plus observer combination. See ya later, alligator, says that DT to the ghost. As 2 more nukes are gonna get researched, and I think this is gonna be a game of whack-a-nuke, where SOS is going to be chasing ghosts around, trying not to lose too many bases, trying not to lose too many workers, while continuously also, well, hopefully doing something. The question is when is SOS gonna make a move? So far, he's been in control of the game, but it doesn't feel like he's been in control. He's been playing like he's the dude that's behind her. No Templar yet either, so dealing with Viking Ghost without Templar is going to be rough with just pure carrier. These 2 nukes are about to finish up. A couple of EMPs perhaps could take out this Archon. That is a start. That is a start. This is so far a very interesting game. We have Tempest, so Tempest are going to be the saving unit here. I guess the unit that says, hey, I want to break your defensive spot. But Gumiho is just playing this well. He's rotating with Ghost Marauder. He's keeping Ghost Viking at home. Now he's gonna get spotted here by this observer, which is bad. Gets a couple of big scans, sees that he was spotted by the observer. Just gonna take it out as he slowly but surely moves forward with turrets as well. What's the Liberator count right now? We have 4. Oh, Vikings get some decent hits in. Vikings had a couple of decent... I think he can fight this. Gumiho doesn't agree. He has a lot of ghosts. 18 ghosts, 17 Vikings. I think that's absolutely viable. These tanks in these positions are... He just continues splitting the map here. And when Gumiho was on 3 base, I thought there's no way he gets a 4th. Then when he was on 4, I thought there's no way he gets a 5th. Then when he was on 5, I thought there's no way he gets a 6th. And right now we have Gumiho on 6 bases. And he has not been touched yet this game. He really hasn't. Resources lost overall favoring Gumiho. The fact that there's no Templar here with Storm makes zoning these Vikings out extremely difficult. Just extremely difficult. Ship weapons level 3 is about to finish up as well here for them Vikings. As the carriers move on over with their interceptor focus onto the bad boys in the air. Disruptor shot, not gonna happen. Not quite yet at least. Carriers running out of interceptor here, I can only imagine. But this was an okay trade so far for SOS. Really the first okay trade that he's had. Resources lost fairly even. There's a single Tempest in here to provoke the opponent, make him angry. Disruptor shot moving in forward doesn't get anything. There's 1 observer to spot all of these ghosts. Interceptor count only 27 out of 7 carriers. It's not quite high enough, I would say. Probably want a couple more before you want to go into a next fight. Big blink forward though, snipes the tank. Now it's gonna probably try and clear a couple of these Vikings. SOS with a phenomenal fight here, it feels like at least. as he's gonna clean out his opponent's bank. The question now being, can Gumiho recover? And I don't know if that's the case. He still has an okay Viking count, but he's not dealing well with these Stalkers. The Stalkers are the real problem for him. Another tank sieges up as he continues tank production, continues Viking production. This is most likely going to be a winning fight here for Gumiho as that Disruptor shot forces a lift up on every single ghost. I'm not actually sure if this is going to be a winning fight here for Gumiho. Gumiho actually in some serious trouble here. Vikings are running dry, but at the same time carriers are being taken out. More Zealots now moving in, but the ghost count is still decent-ish. Another tank will siege. Another tank will siege. You have infinite tanks here sieging up. 14 DTs being warped in. Where the heck is that? Is that the left side? There's a proxy nexus. Coming out of proxy nexus DT over here. That was how many mules? That's like 13 mules. All on the left side, which are now being denied their sweet, sweet mining. Sweet mining. Bum, bum, bum. It's all being denied here by that beautiful 14 DT warp. This is like an advantage of 5 meters. I'm not sure if that's worth 400 minerals, but I guess to a billionaire like SOS in this game, it's absolutely fine. He has a lot of crap. He has a lot of money. He can spend some of that cash. We now have Storm being researched as he's transitioning into a ground force with a single carrier, single Tempest support. DT still on the ground, of course, as well. These mules have just mined out this base. They sucked it dry in a couple of seconds. Was that a cancel here? I didn't quite see it. I didn't quite see that. I build a pylon here. DT's now moving in. We'll snipe the first tank. More DT's moving in. We'll snipe the second tank. Mine gets connect. Oh my god, this is terrible for the SOS. He killed 2 tanks and lost 14 DTs for a base that has 25 minerals remaining. This might actually be the worst trade in trade history. Oh no. As we now have a pretty aggressive setup here as well, with Liberators, with tanks, with Vikings, with Ghosts. This army looks like garbage, to be honest. It's not going to be capable of beating this. I don't think so. Look how many Libs there are. Just covering for these tanks. That's so many Liberators. That is actually so many Liberators. Here comes a flank. Tank still in the back. Libs now actually jumping into action as the Zealots moving forward. A couple of Storms don't really connect with anything. SOS here throwing away his entire army into the meat grinder that's called Gumiho. And he has two Colossus and a carrier remaining. He has 7 orbitals, and that means that the moment his base lands, there's going to be a couple of mules falling out of the sky. So yes, minus 21 workers is annoying. You know what else is annoying? If you don't have any bases anywhere, that's pretty much the case here for SOS. Doesn't have that much mining himself. 1200 minerals a minute. It's time for mules, in my mind at least. There's almost no energy though remaining. Holy crap. It's practically out of energy. 2 god-awful trades in a row there. First the 14 DTs and then this terrible fight. Feels like without an air army, it's difficult for the Protoss to get anything going. It's the one thing I do know for sure. Stalker's now trying to go for a base trading move. SOS not really building units either. I think he's not sure what to build, honestly. Because he's only at 136 supplies. Like, what do I want? Do I want DTs? Do I want Disruptors? Do I want... I think the air army probably was the call to continue building air units. But right now SOS just wants to have anything out. That any type of unit is a good type of unit right now. The Liberator count is fairly large here on the top side. Gumiho spreading himself quite thin. A lot of units here moving towards the bottom to snipe bases. SOS trying to catch this army is going to get a catch on it. EMP's going down. No observer with this army, so perhaps Cloak could be useful. It's not a huge army, by the way, out of Gumiho. I think it's big enough. I really do believe it's big enough. Tank's going to siege, or stay sieged. Together with these Libs are going to be just fine. Planetary could start morphing as well over here. This is an orbital, but it's an orbital that is fairly well set up. Stalker Zealot, Colossus, Archon gets scanned. Might be capable of moving in here though. There's not that many units. And this is also one of the last mining bases, of course, for Gumiho. Actually, it is the last mining base for Gumiho. So both players here struggling when it comes to the money. SCV is going to get taken out. This was a much better fight than before, basically with the same result when it comes to dealing damage, but not losing the entire army for free at the same time. So, yeah, infinitely better than whatever happened before. Gumiho's army is still bigger. It is still scary, but it also consists of a lot of Marines here. 36 Marines against both Storm and Colossus. There's only 3 Vikings out, which is probably not enough to deal with 3 Colossus, which is definitely not enough to deal with 3 Colossus. The Liberator count is 5, and there's only 7 Ghosts. We have continuous Marine production. I think Gumiho is in a world of trouble. I really believe so. What is the mule count that's available currently? It's not very high. It's maybe like 4. Oh, okay, maybe more like 7. 7 mules is a lot of eco. That is a lot of eco, but you're also going to need some gas. We still have... well, we technically could have 4 refineries mining. Currently, we only have 2. As SOS is going to be taking out this orbital command, as well as going to go for the planetary. And it feels like that if there's ever a big fight right now, that neither player could really remax. These Archons are taking a risky path. I don't like it as much. Going to survive for now. We get the snipe here on this planetary. Maybe taking out that orbital would be nice as well. Look at the Archon count, by the way. There are 14 Archons against 7 Ghosts. I'm not sure if the Ghosts have enough EMPs to deal with all of this. Although it's going to be difficult for the Archons to kind of get them, you know, to push themselves forward to actually start dealing damage. Because there's only limited amounts of space usually in a fight. This looks like a massively powerful army though. Could we get a split? Could we get a storm? So many Marines in there. Mules have landed. I repeat, the mules have landed. Archon count still looking phenomenal. Juicy. Of course, also very juicy here for these EMPs. Oh my god, that was 5-6 Archons. Minus 1800 gas there instantly. No EMPs on the right side though. These Marauders having a much harder time. Ghost count at 3, but only 2 or 3 EMPs remaining. As Gumiho wants to jump onto this. But it's not quite gonna work. And SOS, I think, is walking towards victory here. Where the Bioforce just isn't big enough anymore. There's loads of cash in the bank for SOS as he takes out this base. GG's gonna get caught. Gumiho ends up losing this very weird nuke-filled late-game fest. I'm not sure how to describe it. But a banger it was for sure. That's going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. Hope you did enjoy this game. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Bye-bye.